drivers. Radio, break Her stomach's coming.
Oh yeah.
We got two that are gone.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This is the worst I've ever seen. Rest in peace, buddy.
In the quiet suburb of Strongsville, Ohio, a summer night in 2022 ended in devastation. What first appeared to be a tragic accident would soon unravel into one of the most haunting crimes the state had seen in years. A story of love, control, and deliberate destruction. This is the case of McKenzie Sharella, the teenage girl who drove her car into a brick wall, killing two young men. But as investigators would later discover, this was no accident. It was murder. It was the early hours of July 31st, 2022. 17-year-old McKenzie Sharella was behind the wheel of her Toyota Camry. With her were her 20-year-old boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and their 19-year-old friend, DaVon. Hours earlier, the group had attended a high school party to celebrate Mackenzie's upcoming 18th birthday. Witnesses described the night as typical: loud music, alcohol, and small doses of drugs circulating among guests. But some noticed strange behavior from McKenzie. She reportedly offered psychedelic mushrooms to others, something her friends had never seen her do before. At around 3:30 a.m., the group left the party to visit another friend. They stayed there for about an hour, watching television and relaxing. By 5 a.m., McKenzie decided it was time to leave. Although Dominic usually drove, she insisted on taking the wheel that morning. As they pulled out, an argument erupted. McKenzie initially refused to give DaVon a ride home, but Dominic persuaded her to let him come along. It would be a fatal decision. Moments later, CCTV cameras captured McKenzie's car turning off its expected route, away from DaVon's house and toward a dead-end street called Progress Drive. The footage showed the vehicle accelerate rapidly, jumping from 30 miles per hour to over 90. At the end of that road stood a brick wall. In the final seconds, the car swerved slightly, narrowly missing a tree, and then, in an instant, slammed directly into the building. For nearly 45 minutes, no one discovered the wreck. At 6:15 a.m., a motorcyclist passing by spotted the mangled car and called 911. Police arrived to a scene of devastation. Through the officers' body cameras, the horror of what they found is evident. Dominic and DaVon were pronounced dead at the scene.
Rest in peace, buddy.
McKenzie, the only one wearing a seatbelt, was barely alive. She was airlifted to the nearest hospital in critical condition. At first, authorities assumed it was a tragic accident, perhaps caused by drugs, fatigue, or McKenzie's known medical condition, POTS, which can cause fainting spells. But one detail immediately troubled investigators. There were no tire marks on the road, no sign that anyone had tried to brake. At the hospital, McKenzie's parents were told that their daughter was the only survivor. Through tears and confusion, they learned that Dominic and DaVon had not made it.
Two are deceased in the vehicle. Daughter's driving.
Who died? Dom?
Might be.
Oh my God.
Stop.
What's his relation to you?
My boyfriend.
Okay. Yeah, then Dom was in the car.
Stop. Oh my God. What? Are you kidding me?
It's right now. It's an ongoing investigation. Speed is definitely a factor. So are drugs.
Dom is dead? Dom is dead? Is that what you're saying to me? Look at me. Is that Dom is dead?
Meanwhile, police documented the scene and began to wonder whether this accident was something far more deliberate. Initial reports suggested McKenzie may have blacked out behind the wheel. Officers noted the presence of drugs in the vehicle, including a bag of mushrooms and a scale. But as the evidence was processed, inconsistencies began to surface. Why had she taken an unfamiliar route? Why was she the only one wearing a seatbelt? And why did the car accelerate instead of slow down before impact? 3 weeks later, McKenzie was released from the hospital. The community rallied around her, seeing her as a young girl who had survived an unimaginable tragedy. But Dominic's family couldn't shake their suspicions. Something about her story didn't add up. Then one day, they turned over a video to police. A video recorded on Dominic's phone just 10 days before the crash. It would change everything. You're watching Behind the Crime Tape. If you want more real stories of crime, deception, and the human darkness behind every case, subscribe now and stay with us as we uncover the truth behind the McKenzie Sharella investigation. The video from Dominic's phone was disturbing. In it, McKenzie could be heard yelling and threatening him, saying he'd better open the door or there would be a serious problem.
You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious problem.
It wasn't a one-time outburst. According to Dominic's family, the relationship had been volatile for months. Investigators soon uncovered messages where McKenzie had threatened Dominic's life and told friends she couldn't live without him. One of Dominic's brothers told detectives that McKenzie would become violent when Dominic tried to end the relationship. On one occasion, she reportedly hit him while he was driving, forcing him to pull over because he feared she would make them crash. The police also learned of bizarre claims that McKenzie had performed voodoo on Dominic, using strands of his hair and a doll to keep him from leaving. Her behavior was erratic and obsessive. Then came the technical evidence. After retrieving McKenzie's phone, investigators found something chilling. GPS data showed that days before the fatal crash, she had driven down the same dead-end road 7 times, following the exact path that would later lead to the collision. It appeared she had practiced the route. By November 2022, detectives had enough to reclassify the incident as a homicide. On November 4th, officers arrived at McKenzie's home with a warrant for her arrest.
Hi, McKenzie. Step out for me. I'm Detective Jesus. I'm the one who's been investigating the crash. You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you. Can I have your key, please?
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
She was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder. Her parents rushed to the police station in disbelief. They insisted the arrest was unfair, that their daughter was still recovering from trauma and incapable of such violence. But the evidence was overwhelming. The crash had not been spontaneous. It was a calculated act. Investigators pieced together McKenzie's life after the crash and found even more unsettling details. She had skipped Dominic and DaVon's funerals, bragged about drug use online, and even attended a Halloween party dressed as a bloodied corpse, just months after the deaths. Her parents defended her costume publicly, saying she deserved to have fun. On her phone, police found photos of McKenzie posing with large stacks of cash, fake IDs, and messages suggesting she had been offering illicit meetings for money. Combined with footage of her reckless driving, it painted a picture of a teenager spiraling out of control. McKenzie was tried as an adult. She chose to waive her right to a jury, leaving the verdict in the hands of a judge. Her defense argued that she had lost consciousness and never intended to cause harm. The prosecution, however, presented the evidence, the threats, the GPS data, the lack of braking, and the toxic relationship that preceded the crash. The judge's conclusion was unequivocal. McKenzie had deliberately accelerated toward that wall with the intention of ending Dominic's life and her own. The crash was not an accident. It was murder. In August 2023, the court found McKenzie Sharella guilty on multiple counts, including 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, and 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide.
This is the type of evidence you can never unsee. You can never forget the visual or audio of this exhibit. It is chilling and tragic. As you review that exhibit, you know that you are watching the oncoming deaths of 2 people, and there is nothing that will stop it. Exhibit 802 crystallizes the deadly decision-making of the defendant. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. The mission was death. McKenzie alone decided to push the pedal to the floor and demand the ultimate speed of that vehicle to 90 to 100 miles per hour. McKenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and DaVon, and she continuously acted in a manner to achieve her purpose. In the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and DaVon Flandin. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
She was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. Her earliest possible parole date is October 2037. What began as a tragic car crash turned out to be a premeditated act of violence, a young woman's desperate attempt to control the man she loved. The story of McKenzie Sharella is not just about murder. It's about obsession, manipulation, and the darkness that can hide behind a smiling teenage face. And for the families of Dominic Russo and DaVon, the wreckage of that night still defines their lives. A reminder that sometimes evil doesn't look like a monster. It looks like someone you trust behind the wheel. This is Behind the Crime Tape, where the truth is never buried, it's waiting to be uncovered. If you found this story as compelling and haunting as we did, make sure to subscribe to Behind the Crime Tape for more deep dives into real cases where every detail matters. Don't forget to like this video if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think really drove McKenzie Sharella that night? Was it rage, heartbreak, or something darker? Your voice helps keep these stories alive and ensures that the truth, no matter how disturbing, is never forgotten.